Lions kill suspected rhino poachers who sneaked onto South African game reserve. Suspected poachers sneaked onto a South African game reserve to hunt rhinos, but a pride of lions found them instead. A guide at the Sibiya Game Reserve spotted what appeared to be human remains on Tuesday near the group of lions, according to reserve owner Nick Fox. It was getting too dark. Oklahoma girl, 15, died from overdose in TikTok Benadryl Challenge. The Benadryl Challenge is a new game in which teens on TikTok are encouraged to take as much allergy medicine. Girl, 10, brain dead after taking TikTok Blackout Challenge. Tied belt around neck in extreme choking test on social media. A 10-year-old Italian girl was declared brain dead by a Palermo hospital Thursday after taking the Blackout Challenge on TikTok. Her parents have okayed donating the organs of the girl. Tourist, 21, dies while taking selfie atop cliff in Australia. She saw the best in people. Defending her daughter, Rebecca Smith wrote that Madeline Davis was not self-obsessed, but rather a wonderful, beautiful person who made a mistake. A 21-year-old tourist from England died over the weekend when she fell off a cliff in Australia while taking a selfie, according to the BBC. 27 confirmed dead, 18 in critical condition after drinking jeek in church. In the name of casting out demons. Man in India dies while trying to eat 50 eggs. A woman refused to follow doctor's advice because she didn't do needles died after falling into a diabetic coma. Natasha Home, 20, kept her type 1 diabetes diagnosis secret and refused to follow medical advice which would have let her live a normal life. Pastor dies after 30 days of fasting to beat Jesus' record. Get ducked, poser. Psychic dies after stabbing himself to prove he's immortal. Body of man, 29, who went missing 5 weeks ago when he was filming himself jumping off a rented boat but accidentally left it in gear, is found more than 1,500 feet down in Lake Tahoe. Ryan Normoyle, from New Jersey, rented a boat on Lake Tahoe on August 10th. He filmed himself jumping into the water on his cell phone. Investigators said he left the boat in gear, which meant it traveled forward. He was unable to catch up with it and drowned in the rough waters. His body was finally recovered Sunday 1,565 feet under the water. Search teams tracked his location through his cell phone GPS data. It was the deepest recorded recovery ever carried out in the US and Canada. 30 Taliban militants killed in explosion during bomb-making class. 3 dead after dry ice stunt at blogger's party goes tragically wrong. 3 people were killed and 7 rushed to hospital after dry ice was thrown into a swimming pool during a blogger's party in Russia. The victims were unable to breathe and some were also left with chemical burns. Man bitten by spider in bed in Brazil dies after being too macho to see doctor. A dad who was too macho to see a doctor after being bitten in bed by a spider ended up dying from the bite. Woman killed by gator on Kiowa Island was fascinated, took pictures before attack. Cynthia Covert was waist deep in a pond behind her friend's home on Kiowa Island, clutching a rope as her friends tried to get her away from the alligator that dragged her into the water. As her friends pulled, she calmly said, "I guess I won't do this again," according to a supplemental report released Tuesday by the Charleston County Sheriff's Office. Mother of one, 24, choked to death when she tried to see how many Jaffa cakes she could fit in her mouth for a party trick. Bethan Gaskin stopped breathing when the snacks got lodged in her throat. A 36-year-old woman in Oxford, Indiana, was recently found dead in a makeshift snake sanctuary that was home to 140 snakes. The victim, Laura Hurst, was found lifeless on the floor of the home with a reticulated python around her neck. It's a bizarre story from top to bottom, and it starts with the home's owner, who happens to be the local sheriff. Teen dies after being hit with skateboard. A St. Louis area boy who asked to be hit on the head with a skateboard and was by another teenager has died of his injuries. DARE officer dies of overdose while raiding evidence locker and gets a parade the next day. In June of this year, a police officer with over 2 decades on the job was found dead in the Winnemucca Police Department's evidence locker. He had a bag of fentanyl in his pocket, yet when his death was announced, it was reported that Officer Matt Morgan died of natural causes. The very next day, dozens of police departments from around the area put together a procession parade 2 hours long in his honor as people stood along the route to pay their respects. But Morgan didn't die of natural causes, and he had no business being in the department's evidence locker that day. Oklahoma girl, 15, dies after taking the Benadryl challenge on TikTok, where teens take large quantities of the anti-allergy drug to hallucinate. Make no mistake, blanks can kill. In 1984, actor John Eric Hexum died while on the set of CBS's cover-up as a result of a blank cartridge. Bored by incessant delays, the actor pointed a gun loaded with blanks to his head and reportedly said, "Can you believe this crap?" before pulling the trigger. Man falls to death off cliff while taking pictures. More human remains found during recovery effort. The human remains in the canyon were from an unknown and unrelated incident. A man in India died after a cow he had stolen kicked hint in the groin. The 50-year-old man was identified as Govindappa, who had multiple cases of smuggling against him, India reported on June 26th. He stole a cow from a farmhouse in Appanahalli, a village located at the southern state of Karnataka, as per Kannada News via India. After traveling with the cow for 2 kilometers, he tried to force it into a vehicle so it could be transported. In return, the cow kicked him in the groin, causing his death. Govindappa was found the next morning in the outskirts of the village, Shivana News reported on June 24th. People from the town informed Nagahalli police of his death, and an autopsy confirmed that he died from the blow to his groin. Woman freezes to death in UFO vigil. A woman who shivered through a month-long vigil awaiting signals from flying saucers froze to death in a car at the end of a desolate trail along snowy Loon Lake. Authorities said Friday. Laverne Landis, 48, St. Paul, a widowed mother of 5 grown children, was found dead in the car parked by a lake. A Belarusian man found this bottle in a dumpster, took it home and drank it with his wife. They died the next day. According to the CDC, hand sanitizers should only contain ethanol or isopropanol alcohol, and hand sanitizer should never be ingested. 4 adults dead after ingesting hand sanitizer, 11 others hospitalized. Extreme case of sadomasochism. This man inserted large dildos into his anus and with the trapeze-like contraption could produce in and out movements by flexing his knees. The cause of death was a heart attack. Man shouts, "Duck that alligator," jumps into lake and is killed by alligator. Gender reveal device explosion kills father-to-be. A father-to-be from New York State has died after a device he was building for his child's gender reveal party exploded, according to police. Clement Vallandigham, a lawyer who, while trying to demonstrate how the victim might have accidentally shot himself and died. He then won the case. "I've won, but at what cost?" Man died after eating fish cake so hot he couldn't breathe. Harrow schoolboy killed by single punch after telling bouncer, "You'll work for me one day." Recently, a draft on its way to the division halted by the roadside for the usual 10 minutes to the hour halt. During this period, a man of this draft found a shell and forthwith commenced to play with it. One of them lifted it up and, at the request of the others, dropped it on its nose. 25 were killed and 31 wounded. Russian woman plunges to her death while posing for holiday pictures on a cliff top in Dubai. Looter, 24, is killed trying to blow up an ATM in Philadelphia in a coordinated raid by thieves who hit 30 machines across the city with explosives. Man crushed under vending machine. A man was killed when a soft drink vending machine toppled over and crushed him, apparently because he was rocking it back and forth after the coin return jammed, police said. Daniel Todd Erickson, 24, left his family's apartment about 7:30 p.m. Monday to get a can of soda from the machine at the apartment complex's recreation center, said the victim's wife, Elaine Erickson. When her husband failed to show up an hour later, Mrs. Erickson went out to look for him. When she found Erickson with the Pepsi Cola vending machine on top of him, she ran to a friend's apartment for help. Attempts to revive Erickson by cardiopulmonary resuscitation failed. The last image of Keith Spassford, a 14-year-old Australian boy who wanted to explore the world, so he snuck to a plane wheel well. It opened in mid-air and the boy fell out. The photographer was just testing his new lenses and was shocked after developing those images. Carjacker killed himself when shotgun went off as he tried to smash window. Russian accountant 26 is killed instantly after dropping her phone into the bath while it was charging. Wrexham woman was strangled by dog, leads inquest hears. A woman died after being strangled by leads being pulled by 2 dogs. An inquest has heard. Deborah Roberts of Wrexham was found in the Garden Village area of the town on 8th July. Two workmen found Roberts after a young girl asked them for help, saying her friend was choking, the brief hearing in Ruthin was told. North Wales East and Central Senior Coroner John Gittins adjourned the case for a full inquest. Miss Roberts was discovered face down on a grassed area behind Southlight Drive, with dog leads around her neck being pulled by two animals. Woman starves to death in spiritual quest to live on sunlight alone. A woman starved to death after embarking on a spiritual journey which involved giving up food and water and attempting to exist on nothing but sunlight. Live fish slips into throat, selfie causes man to choke to death. Woman falls to her death while posing for a photo on Turkish cliff after going for a walk to celebrate the end of coronavirus quarantine lockdown. Florida man dies after trying to remove pet pigeon from power line with 20-foot aluminum pole. Teen who died from choking challenge donates organs. A teen who died after attempting a choking challenge saved 5 lives with organ donations, his mum said. The challenge, which involves being voluntarily choked unconscious, took the life of Mason Bogard. His mum, Joanne Jackson Bogard, is now trying to spread Mason's message. She wrote, "If you hear of someone else's child trying something dangerous, tell the parent." In Houston, Texas, a 19-year-old boy named Rashad died attempting to play Russian roulette with a semi-automatic pistol instead of a revolver. That boy. I call this game American roulette. You have 0% chance of surviving. Woman killed by train after dropping her phone on tracks and climbing down to get it. A 37-year-old commuter was struck and killed by a train after she dropped her phone onto the tracks and climbed down to retrieve it. Addicted to PUBG, a P teenager skips food water, dies after playing game continuously for days. He was so addicted to the game that he forgot about eating and drinking and skipped his meals for days. Yob, who head-butted cops, suffered brain damage sledging on toilet seat. Liam Stafford from Paisley kicked off during a trip to Middlesbrough. 3-year-old kills policeman dad with service gun. A rookie police officer was shot to death by his 3-year-old son, who had grabbed the man's service weapon from a kitchen table. Joshua Hafner, 22, was pronounced dead early Friday after several hours of surgery at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. He had been flown by helicopter from an airport near his home in Smyrna, about 20 miles to the southeast. The shooting occurred late Thursday, shortly after Hafner had arrived home from his shift at Nashville's South Sector Precinct, said Sergeant Ken Hampton of the Smyrna Police Department. He was taking off his duty equipment and laid his Glock 40 caliber semi-automatic pistol on the kitchen table. Apparently, while he had his back turned and was talking to his wife, their 3-year-old picked the gun up and shot him, Hampton said. Hafner graduated from Nashville's Police Academy November 1st and was completing his field training. Man dies after drinking chemicals to protect from coronavirus. A man in South Africa adopted a baby hippo after it was rescued from a river. 5 years later, the hippo dragged him into the same river and killed him. Arkansas hunter dead after deer he shot apparently gets up, attacks him. Man mocks alligators, jumps in water and is killed in Texas. Boy who cried wolf prankster died in fake suicide gone wrong designed to scare girlfriend. A YouTuber who claimed being vegan cured her cancer has died from cancer. What was she thinking? Mum of 3 teacher, 42, died after swallowing 60-pound bag of cocaine in first-class lounge before flight to Dubai. Purse robber, 42, jumps to his death off the Brooklyn Bridge after being cornered by police. A 42-year-old man jumped to his death off a Brooklyn Bridge ramp on Saturday. Cops responded to reports of a stolen purse in Dumbo, Brooklyn at 9 p.m. The suspect took off in a Honda Accord, crossed the Brooklyn Bridge while followed by police and hit a cop car near the FDR ramp. He then headed down to the Pearl Street ramp, exited the car, and jumped over the side of a bridge ramp in a bid to evade police. He was rushed to Bellevue Medical Center and died of his wounds. His name has not been released to the public yet. Man falls to his death at Atlanta hotel after flashing housekeeper, police say. Man whose penis and testicles were bitten off and eaten by bulldog was alone in room with the animal and had peanut butter spread on his crotch. Police in Scotland found the man unconscious in a pool of his own blood. He was taken to hospital, but his organs could not be reattached. No one has been charged with any offense which relates to the incident. Justin, YouTuber killed after a prank went wrong. 20 was killed after he approached a group of people with butcher knives as part of a robbery prank. He was shot, and the shooter claimed it was for self-defense. A Christchurch man died after drinking an entire 70cl bottle of Jack Daniels in under 5 seconds, an inquest heard. Samuel Nicholas Thomas Davis, 30, died at the Royal Bournemouth Hospital on November 29, 2019. He had more than 7 times the legal drink-driving limit in his system when he died. At his time of death, Mr. Davis had 609 micrograms of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood in his system. A level senior coroner for Dorset Ruckle Griffin said she had never seen before. Trump supporter shoots himself through the groin in an attempt to trigger liberals. A member of a homoerotic pro-Trump Facebook group, where straight guys share photos of themselves pointing loaded guns at their genitals in an attempt to trigger liberals, has accidentally shot himself in the balls. Shaman jumps in lake to prove he can control crocodiles, gets eaten. In 2016, a suicide bomber with explosives in his laptop boarded a Dallo Airlines flight, intending to destroy the aircraft. 20 minutes after takeoff, the explosives detonated, blasting a hole in the plane and instantly sucking the bomber out. He was the only fatality. Melbourne woman dies in bizarre Westgate Bridge car accident while cooking omelette. Woman befriended mum's killer out of spiritual obligation, and then he murdered her. Martha McKay was kind to Travis Lewis, who was convicted and released after he killed her mother and cousin in 1996. A rooster stabbed a man to death with a knife during a cockfight. People place a knife to a rooster's leg before a cockfight at the Tampak Siring Temple in Bali, Indonesia on January 18, 2018. Cockfight is an old tradition in Balinese Hinduism. After eating a raw rodent's kidney for good health, a couple has died from the bubonic plague. Doctors found drugs in butt of 13-time convicted felon who shot himself through his testicles.